Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
Great. How are you?
Oh, good.
Enjoying? Are you having so much fun?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's just amazing, I mean, it's the power of a group of women and what you can
Right?
kind of put yourself.
Doesn't it just get you so fired up?
Oh yeah, get you fired up, you lose yourself, you're like, oh, and you think anything is possible. So it's been
Yeah.
really good. We've eaten good, just
Tell everyone there that I'm so sad. I'm not there with you all. I have so much FOMO. It's not even. I've been texting Whitney and Olivia like, why am I not there? I want to be there. We had baseball scheduled every single night this week, and of course, it's rained every day this week, and we keep getting rained out. I'm like, I could have totally gone, but
that's awesome. I mean,
anyway, did
yeah,
you?
we would have loved to have had you. It's just amazing.
I'm
Just
so glad
amazing.
you're enjoying it. Tell everyone I miss them and love them dearly.
Yeah.
So thank you for being here and doing this.
Yeah.
We've
Super
got
excited.
one person here, but we're recording, so I won't keep you too long. I hope that the links in the groups are working. Um, but anyways, I'm just really excited for this because I think this is such an important conversation that we
Oh, I
need to
think so.
have, especially as women.
Mhm.
Uh, so I might stall just for a second
Yeah,
before we actually get started, but I don't want to keep you too
yeah,
much. Are you
sure.
on lunch break?
Yeah, mhm,
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha. Awesome. Okay, so let's see. We are recording. Let me just make sure. All right. Um, if you girls who are here have specific questions that you would like for us to address today, it would be awesome for you to put those in the chat feature, and we can always um, we can grab those as we go along. I'm just gonna make sure that I don't have any questions about the Zoom link. We had a little miscommunication in the groups. I posted the wrong date. Oh my gosh, that's just not surprising to anyone who knows me.
I
Okay,
mean,
let's go ahead and get started because I know your time is super valuable
oh,
and want you to be able to get back and just soak in all this time that you have with your crew there. Okay, so ladies, please welcome Miss Tessa Guevara. She is one of my dear friends who I've met through the Faster Way. Gosh, when was the first time we met? Like maybe 2 years ago,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
longer.
yeah, 2 years ago, and, I've always known of you, but I, like, met you in the flesh and got to see just, you're as
Yeah.
genuine and everything as you portray yourself online and, the exact same way in person, like,
Oh, thank you.
it's
You
hard
are
to
too.
even imagine, but yeah, very true.
Yeah, so we met through the Faster Way. Tessa has been a practicing advanced practice RN for over 16 years,
Mhm,
or is
yeah,
that right? Okay, so 20 years in healthcare, 16 as the CRNA.
mhm.
Um, she is a mama of two, Rocco and Izzy. I love those names. Um, and she's a functional nutritionist. You're also married. You didn't put that in your
Yeah,
bio.
yeah, I'm married. I know, I'm a faster weight coach. There's a lot of stuff I left out.
I know. Okay, so she's a functional nutritionist. She's been doing that for 3 years now, specializing in gut optimization, food sensitivities, and hormones, which is what we are here to talk about today. But let me just also tell you that Tessa is a breast cancer survivor of almost 2 years, and this just really hits home for me. But I've just been in awe of your journey through that. How strong and courageous and just a warrior. You're just a warrior.
Yeah,
So
thank you
if
for that.
anyone knows anything about hormones and what that can do, it's you. So I'm so grateful to have you here to chat with us all about hormone health today. And as I said, for you all who are here, with us. If you have anything specific you would like to chat about in regards to hormones, we might be able to open up for some questions here at the end. So let's dive in. Tessa, as a functional nutritionist, why do you feel the faster way has such a profound effect on hormones?
Well, we're going to like really cast, a broad net today, because I really feel like the faster way hits on more than just the sex hormones that we sort of are more familiar with. So we're going to be talking a little bit more beyond, estrogen and progesterone and all of that, all of those things all of those words that we really associate hormones with, because some of the pillars of the faster way really speak to more than just those hormones. So one of the biggest things that we use in the faster way is intermittent fasting. So we are directly trying to control the release of insulin in our body, and insulin is a major player in how we store fat and how we utilize energy in our body. So with intermittent fasting, we're directly, interfacing with that hormone, whether we realize it or not. And, most of us are coming to the faster way because we want a program that works and we want to see body composition changes. And we don't really know that we are interfacing and doing some things that are really optimizing, more than just, estrogen and progesterone, and insulin is one of them. Fasting is a great way to interface with that particular hormone and kind of trick your body into using fat instead of storing it by using that particular part of the program. The second part of the program that I think is very healthy for our hormones is whole food nutrition. Whenever you are talking about estrogen, progesterone, all of that, whole food nutrition is the basic, I guess, building blocks of those particular hormones. So whenever you're consuming whole food nutrition, you're automatically going to feel better. Your energy levels are going to feel better, and because you're balancing those particular hormones in your body with whole food nutrition. And then the third part of the program is we do targeted workouts and we incorporate strength training. So when a female body strength trains, we create lean muscle mass, which will increase our metabolic rate, right? So we're going to burn more fat when we are sitting in our son's baseball game, when we are, going out to dinner with our husband and watching a movie or whatever. You're just going to burn more calories in general. Another really beauty of strength training, and we'll get to that a little bit later in a particular group where it's truly more beneficial to do strength training. But whenever you're we'll talk about that more and who that really relates to. But targeted workouts, short workouts, strength workouts, bands, HIIT, all of that is going to help us to not fire off cortisol, which is the major stress hormone in the body. And so we're not going on these, long cardio things that we've all done in the past, trying to change body composition. And as you're doing those types of workouts instead of strength training, then you're more likely to increase the cortisol response in your body. Your body thinks that it's being chased away, you're running away from a lion, and so it's going to increase that hormone. So I love the fact that we do targeted workouts. They're strength training based. We get a lot of strength training in our HIIT. Even our HIIT workouts, like we're doing kettlebell and, that kind of thing. So that to me, I think is, the pillars of the program that are so very, very kind to our hormones and just speak right to what we really should be doing. So.
Yeah, absolutely agree with all of that. And one other thing that I think is so important that people don't realize is the importance of rest and
Yeah,
recovery, and how, that
absolutely.
is such a huge pillar
Hmm.
what we do here in the Faster Way. And it is because of the role that plays in managing our hormones,
Yeah. The
protecting our
cortisol
hormones,
response.
lowering cortisol. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Okay. So, how can you, we've talked a little bit about the positive effects of what we're doing here, but how can you actually negatively impact your hormones?
With the program, this is kind of like my biggest soapbox. And because I think that we as women have been misled for a very long time about less is more. Like we have to eat less and to get more from our bodies. And that has been so promoted. And I think one of the biggest reasons we as women condition ourselves to disconnect from our bodies. Like we feel hungry, but we are not going to, entertain the thought of even having any food to feed our bodies because we want to see body composition changes. And so that has been so ingrained in us, and still it's all over the internet and you'll find it. And that is, Bible truth, whatever. And it's truly not. And it's like I said, one of the biggest ways we disconnect from our bodies. And they're like, oh no, you can't eat and you can't give into that hunger. And there is where it sort of begins for all of us, because women, I mean, we do some of the hardest things. Like we birth babies, we have a menstrual cycle, which we're going to get to. We do all of the hard stuff, so it's really not hard to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to fast for 16 hours and I'm going to eat for 8. But during that 8 hours of eating window, I'm going to try to control my calories. So I can I'm going to be eating less, and so I can get more. And that is where the whole program will break down and backfire big time. We just talked about how you're going to be touching, some big player hormones in your body, with all of the pillars of the program. If you start doing the less is more within your fasting window and you're not eating enough, it's going to backfire. And then you are going to be in the pit of adrenal fatigue. And then to get out of that, it takes a long time. So we get, the return on investment of our time. You've just lengthened that out a lot, to, really sort of heal your body. And so it can sort of trust you again, that it knows that you are going to be feeding it. So, that is where I see the biggest breakdown in talking to clients, because they're just not used to eating. We just haven't been trained that way. We just haven't been programmed. And so that is how you can train the program to work against you. And you have to learn to eat more. And then as you build that lean muscle mass, you have to learn to eat more, to keep it, feed it, repair it. And so it, quite frankly, scares a lot of women. They don't know how to handle it. And so you just have to kind of retrain your brain and trust the process. So you're not causing hormonal issues.
Yeah. So instead of staying in this deficit that you started out in, you got to work your way out of that. You can't always be
Hmm.
in that deficit, or if you're
Hmm.
under eating even more, not even hitting your macros,
Hmm.
that's
Hmm.
a bigger issue. So, okay, I'm going to throw a question at you in regards to this. I feel like, because fasting is so easy, it can be um, misused. So
Absolutely.
tell me your opinion on recommended fasting protocols. Are there certain people you would say we really need to cut back on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Anybody that goes from feeling good to all of a sudden they're not sleeping well, their energy has tanked, they can't make it to their eating windows, and they have advanced their macro intake. I would say 100%, you need to open up your window to 10 and 14, and even 12 and 12 is fine. And, you can also think about doing sort of a custom kind of a custom cycle for yourself, meaning, like you said, it's not really hard to do an 8 and 16. It's really not. But maybe you shouldn't be doing that every day. Like maybe you should be, doing 8 and 16 on Mondays and Thursdays, and then the rest of the day you open up your window. So, to 10 and 14 or 12 and 12, so you're really sort of cycling your fast. So you are getting, good autophagy and, or more autophagy whenever you are fasting, say longer, your 16-hour, but you are sort of like mixing it up, if you will. But two of the biggest things are whenever you are tanking in the middle of the day and you cannot sleep through the night. If those things start happening, I would immediately just try to open up your window to see if that helps. And a lot of times it will. And even for me, like I had to learn to listen to my body and just open that window. And it's not like, we're opening the window to eat more honey buns. We're opening the window to eat more whole foods, and that's what your body needs. And it's going to we've trained our body up to that point to use those nutrients to build things in our body. So it just think of it as that. I need more good food so my body can build more things, so I can have the energy that I need and I can sleep through the night. But those are the two tells. That starts happening immediately. Open the window and see how it goes, because it might solve the issue.
Yeah. And I think that it's important to understand that fasting is just one thing. It's one piece. It's one tool that you have in your tool belt, but it's not the end all be all. And it does not need to be rigid.
Mm-hmm.
It's flexible, and it doesn't need to be abused in a way that, you're just like, oh, well, fasting, I can fast for 20 hours every day.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that doesn't necessarily yield positive results.
Yes. Yeah. You're working against the mind of a woman. And like I said, we do some hard crap. It's not a problem. We make the decision, it's done. And so fasting is really not the issue. The issue is listening to your body when it's telling you what it needs. And, on that tip, in terms of opening the window, if you're having those issues and you really love the HIIT workouts, I want you to back off. I want you to back off and do the low impact. You can still do them, but all the hopping around and everything, probably not for you right now. You want to get the heart rate up, but not that high. That still can be interpreted as a stressor for you. So, I love the fact that they do the band and they do the low impact. And and on the weeks that I do HIIT workouts, because I'm still healing, that I'm still to do the full Amanda on Monday. Like I'm doing the Lee or the Haven back there, just kind of marching in place.
And that's okay, because that's still effective, and that is still
absolutely, you're moving your body.
It's just everyone is different and everyone has different needs. But yeah, you touched on the point of HIIT. It's just that you can do too much, and if you can't just keep pushing through those feelings, like when you are wiped out after a workout and need a nap, that is not normal. It's just recognizing, being more in tune with your body and what your body is trying to tell you. And it can be extremely stressful if you're especially on top of not sleeping and having your hormones in a, all out of whack. So okay. So tell us what impacts our hormones the most.
Without a doubt, food, food impacts it, but also schedule, what we say yes to. Like we have created this modern womanhood that we have to be all things to everyone. but really, we're the last on the list. And whenever you start having hormonal issues, then you understand how important your needs are as well. And so you kind of have to, you really have to be intentional about the time that you're spending, and then cut back on the things that you can say no to. Like, you don't have to be the homeroom mom, and you don't have to be, volunteering for the PTA or whatever it is. Those are just, some certain examples. There's some non-negotiables. Like, you can't not take care of your family. You can't not take care of your kids. That's that. I'm not saying that, but whenever it comes to symptoms of stress, having stress affect your hormones, affect your energy levels, affect your sleep, like it's all one big circle. And so whenever those things start happening, the way that we de-stress our body is very simple. We go out and walk in nature. We ground with the earth, walk in the grass barefoot, be in community with other women, physical touch, whether it's hugs. Some crazy books that I've read, talk about orgasms and how important they are in terms of stress release for a woman. And that could be your partner or yourself. It doesn't matter, but whenever you were talking about de-stressing activities for a woman, it's about 6 things. They're easy, don't take a lot of time. It's just a matter of making them a practice of doing them for yourself. Another one is meditation. Like, it's hard to sit for 5 minutes a day and do that, but it is incredibly therapeutic whenever it's one of the nicest things that you can do for your body. So again, they don't take a lot of time, but it's just things that you have to know to trigger the oxytocin system, which is actually what counterbalances the stress system, if you need sort of a scientific visual that way. But it's really like 6 things. And, it's just a matter of making them a practice of doing them. But it's 100% the schedule and being all things to everyone and not anything to ourselves. So
Yes,
that's the most impactful thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question. How do we get the best out of our faster way plan as a cycling woman?
Okay. This is like one of my favorite topics because it sort of speaks to that sort of disconnection that we make, like, we all got our period. It's a mess. We feel like crap. So what do? You don't want to deal with that. I want to shut that off. And that's just something I'm going to have to, just another thing I'm going to have to deal with. And, some of us have horrible cramps, and, we go to the doctor, they may give us something, or they may say, well, that's just how it is. And, so we live with a lot of that. That's just how it is. And quite frankly, it just teaches us to disconnect. And so I love to sort of bring just some basic concept around what your body is doing as a cycling woman. And I'm talking about normal cycling women that don't have any issues. I'm been in healthcare long enough to know that there are the outliers out there. And, that's a whole nother conversation. But I'm talking about, anywhere from a 28 to 32 week or 32 day cycle. So you really have to understand, to me, I feel like every woman has to understand what dominant hormone is in play at particular times during their cycle, so they understand how they're supposed to feel, so they don't feel like something is wrong with them. So in the first 14 days of a female cycle, it's called the follicular phase. So estrogen is going to be the dominant hormone in that phase. So estrogen brings the energy. Estrogen brings the zest for life. It makes us, a woman. So we're more energized during those first 2 weeks of the cycle. We feel better. Our energy levels are better. We don't really have cravings. If you're eating whole foods, you're pretty satisfied. Workouts aren't a problem. When you ovulate, you are a woman on fire. Like, it is the best day of your life. Like you feel like you can do anything. So, so on ovulation day, there's a shift in the dominant hormone. So estrogen levels tank and progesterone becomes the dominant hormone. If you've ever interfaced with if you've ever interfaced with progesterone, well, I'll just kind of tell it like this. But so progesterone makes you feel tired. Um, you're more introverted. You don't really feel like being around people. It's sort of like a almost a doom and gloom sort of feeling. So it's really not the time to push your workouts. It's really, don't do any, and I'm not saying don't work out. I'm saying don't try to push it and don't try to, increase weights or anything like that, because your body is just not ready for it. And what progesterone is doing, it is preparing the uterus for implantation, for the implantation of an embryo. It doesn't care. It doesn't know that you're not having sex with your husband. It doesn't, it doesn't know that it's not humanly possible for that to happen. Your body is just going to do what it does. So women gravitate to carbs during those times. Very important for you to get, really dense root veggie carbs, potatoes, sweet potatoes. You'll just have a craving for those. You'll have, cravings for chocolate, and all of that is okay. This is not the time to be, like overly concerned about intake. You definitely want to stay in your macros, but if you're craving a sweet potato, then that's what you should be eating. You'll be more drawn to that, really. You'll be more tired. You'll be more exhausted, and then once that fourth week, as you're sort of, you're shedding the uterine lining, your body's still going to be working to do that. It's, again, doing a job. So again, you'll still feel more tired, probably won't have any more cravings. You could, but, it's very important to sort of be in tune about what your body is doing, so you don't, whenever you are feeling sort of doom and gloom, you're not running off to the doctor to be, get your next antidepressant. You should be feeling that way. You should be tired. It should be not the best time the best time of the month for you. But so I like to just speak in general there, so you sort of know what to do, know what to expect. Yeah, I'll be wanting the carbs, and that's okay. And it's just going to be temporary because it's a dance. The next month you'll do the exact same thing, and you want to be more supportive to your body, because contrary to popular belief, and this was kind of a shock for me, is that we shouldn't be miserable. We shouldn't feel miserable. I mean, a period, a cycle is the fifth vital sign for a woman. It is a sign of vitality. It's almost a magical thing that not everyone can do. So let's not make it miserable. Let's do what we need to be supportive. So it can be less of an issue, less of a pain, really. So
Yeah, I love that. And I have just really learned, honestly, I have not paid that much attention to my cycle and how that makes me feel up until pretty recently. And the best thing I can do for myself in that time, that like week before I start my period, is just to let honor those hunger cues, and just eat more. It's okay to eat more.
okay.
That your body is saying
Yeah.
it needs more. It's
Yeah.
okay. And that has helped me to kind of get away from that like binge type
Mm-hmm.
thing, where you just
Yeah.
try to hold back, you say no, you don't allow yourself that
Mm-hmm.
piece of chocolate or whatever it is, or you're not eating enough to really
Yeah.
satisfy your body's cravings, and then
Yeah.
it just ends up blowing up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. And it's not that your body is building fat during that time. It's literally doing that lining thing. That's what it's doing with that extra intake. It needs the energy to do that. And so the more you, like you said, honor it, the better you feel. So it's just a matter of, getting it in here and being okay and get it in here and to execute.
Yeah.
So,
So it's really cool to, if you aren't already tracking your cycle and you don't really pay attention to what's happening, it's just really cool to kind of go through that and say, okay, well, no wonder I'm tired today. It's just, that's
mhm,
just where I'm at. Or,
mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
okay to kind of pull back on your workouts and
Yes.
sleep
You're
in
not
an
so,
extra hour.
yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
You're not so hard on yourself,
yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
And it's just good to know, like, all right, I know why I feel this way. Being able to connect
Hmm.
things, like you said, is
Hmm.
I just muted myself. Sorry. Okay, so let's go on now to talk a little bit about those who are perimenopausal, menopausal women. How can, if you are in that category, how do you get the best out of the program?
So as a menopausal woman, and I'll speak to that first, I really think that it's really important for you to prioritize protein as your, dominant macro, if you will. You really, really, really want to get all of your protein in. And I know it's that macro that kind of gives everybody fits, because how much meat can you have in a day, right? So I understand that it is an issue, but it truly is the most important macro to a menopausal woman. And I kind of think about it as, protein first. You want to get your fat in check, and then let the carbs fall where they may. Like, the last thing I want you to do as a menopausal woman is to have 100 grams of carbs at the end of your eating window, and you go and you're satisfied. You don't want to eat anymore. And, I don't want you going to the kitchen and, down in 3 bananas to get it all in. As long as you are getting your protein in on the daily, you're advancing your protein as you need, you're keeping your fat in check, depending on which day the cycle that you're on, you're going to feel, you're going to be doing the best thing for your body. And then the second thing is that you really, really, I cannot, I guess, advise strength training more as a menopausal woman than any other form of exercise, whether it be you're lifting weights, you're using body weight for yoga, Pilates, whatever it may be. It is so important, because we do not have the estrogen levels that we had before. We just don't. And again, menopause is not supposed to be miserable, friends. It's not supposed to be miserable. It is made miserable by this crazy, modern womanhood schedule that we have. That's a whole nother conversation. But whenever we have decreasing estrogen levels in the body, estrogen supports bone mass. So you want to offset that with strength training, because that will preserve your bone mass. And so that, for me, that is why strength training becomes very, 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 very important as a menopausal woman. In perimenopause, I have the same sort of kind of the same mindset. There again, I do think that protein is, a good macro then. But the thing that you are going to want whenever I think about perimenopause, that I think that every woman should know, is that at the age of 35, we're going to naturally produce less progesterone year to year to year to menopause. And so what that does in the body is that it sets up an opportunity to become estrogen dominant. Estrogen dominant feels like, kind of, you feel kind of bitchy, you're on edge, and it can really start to, like, affect your mood and how you interface with everyone in your life. And so good, having, a lot of cruciferous vegetables and things to make sure that you are eliminating every single day. We should all be pooping every single day. And so, that's a good sort of natural way to counterbalance that that decrease in progesterone. But it becomes really, really hard in perimenopause, I think harder than menopause, because you are shifting. You are, your hormones are going up and down. And so it gets harder. You almost have to know, what it feels like. Okay, this is what it feels like in estrogen excess. This is what it feels like in progesterone. So it becomes a little bit harder. But what I will say is if you are honoring your body with what you're eating, how you're moving, and you're managing your stress like you should, like doing all those things to help de-stress, then it will all go much easier. You'll have a much easier time if you're just honoring your body instead of fighting it. So that's kind of my recommendations for those groups.
What do you think about the types of carbs? Do you feel like women who are in this phase are more carb sensitive? Is that something that you have seen in your practice?
Yeah, I do. I almost think that, and I hate using this descriptor, but it just explains it best. I love a clean keto approach. I love it because, and when I say clean keto, I don't mean you're in the corner eating your pork rinds and cheese and bacon. I mean, you're eating, lean protein and a green veggie every single meal. Like, you can't go wrong. And so that's why I say, you may be short on carbs, and that's fine. The main show is, your proteins and, your fats. And the thing that I think is dangerous too, is, I say clean keto, but that doesn't mean that within the faster way on a regular macro day that you should be blowing out your fats like you do on a low carb day. I absolutely do not think that you need to do that at all. I love the fact, I love the benefit that you'll get as a menopausal woman from the fact that we do carb cycle. But on those days, on a regular macro day, and you got your fat is, within gram, not over. The more you go over on that, I feel like the more it just adds up. So I love to see women sort of keep that in check on a regular macro day, get their protein and then let the carbs fall where they may. Like, you may not get them all in, and that's okay. The main thing is you want to be 80% full by the time that you end your eating window. And if that leaves you short on carbs, then that's fine too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't push it. I wouldn't push, heavy starchy root veggie carbs if just to get your number.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. I did have a couple of questions from the group that are not here right now, but those of you who are listening right now is such a great time to ask questions. We only have Tessa for a minute or two longer. She has to get back to her women's retreat. But if you have questions, now is a good time to ask. I did want to just read through these questions that I got from the group who weren't able to make it. And we've kind of already touched on this, I think. Brandy says, I need advice on premenstrual hormones 10 to 15 days before I get irritable, moody, and a lot more. I mean, I think we've already kind of addressed that that's just normal. But she says, I feel like it's hormone imbalance around that time. I don't necessarily. Yeah, I mean, that's not
100%.
abnormal. It is that your body is shifting its hormones, right? So she says, any suggestions on how to help this? I'm not really sure that there's any way to really help it, but just like you said, kind of honoring.
Yeah, honoring and honoring your cravings, and you will gravitate to those. I say you will. If you will, And if you're not, you should gravitate to more dense carbs during that time. And that will definitely sort of help with that. But yeah, it's absolutely, and imbalance. It's, our bodies are naturally designed to have it that way. And so you just gotta know that it's okay. Number one, that you're feeling that way, and just absolutely 100% do not hold back. Listen to your body, give it what it wants, within the realm of your, macro goals for the day. And, if you're having more cravings and wanting to eat more and, or eat more times, then you absolutely should.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Okay. I'm going to just kind of make this a general question. We were kind of talking about being carb sensitive, grains in particular. Are there certain groups of women, certain thyroid or PCOS, or just being perimenopausal or menopausal, that should avoid grains? Do you think that is
I think you named them all. You named them all right there. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All of those conditions, you're more apt to be carb sensitive at those times, or with those conditions. And it is not uncommon. Again, another, benefit of the faster way is, we get away from gluten, we get away from dairy. It is not uncommon as you age that you become, you just become resistant to those particular things. You can't eat them. You just, and that's pretty normal as well. But yeah, you 100% can become carb sensitive, or, resistant to those.
Yeah. And do you think that this, it's what it's doing is producing inflammation in the body, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like if
Mm-hmm.
you are sensitive to that, then that's going to absolutely impact your ability to lose fat if
Mm-hmm.
the more inflammation you have in the body. So
Absolutely.
okay. Okay. One question I have for you before we let everybody know where they can find you. This was kind of something I was talking about in my stories today. Knowing your body and honoring the fact that when something is not right, when something feels off, or whenever you are doing all the right things and you're not seeing the changes in your body, or you're still not sleeping well, like instead of just saying, all right, well, that's normal, I'm just old, and I'm just not going to sleep well anymore, or I'm just going to feel exhausted all the time, or I'm just going to have additional belly fat. Like, speak to the fact that, like, I feel like you should keep pressing and knowing your body to dig deeper, and that there is something you can do.
That's a great question, because I ride both sides of the fence, really. It's, I know Western medicine, and I know the functional world as well.
Yeah.
So one of the things that was really kind of a pearl to me that I learned in some of my, functional studies, is that whenever you go to a doctor and they do a serum blood test for hormones, it is testing. It will test what your hormones are at that particular time on that particular day. If you're a cycling woman, we just talked about how that's going to look different on any given day. So whenever you are testing hormones in blood, so you're just getting a snapshot of whatever it is that day, and you're getting the value of inactive hormone in your body. So it's hormones that travel in blood. They're going to be bound to protein, which makes them inactive. So I hear a lot of times that women will go to the doctor and they'll get their labs drawn, and you're normal, and you get shooed away. You again continue to disconnect from your body. You get shooed away and you are fine. This is all in your head when you know it's not. And again, we've lived a long life of disconnecting, right? Or being told to, and it's not okay. Again, another story, another soapbox. So you absolutely, just knowing that fact and sharing it, you absolutely should push for more. You should look for somebody, a provider who does the Dutch test. It's a dried urine. It's a kit that you can, purchase and do at home. And you'll get more accurate levels, not only of your sex hormones, but you'll get, a nice cortisol curve to see what that is doing. If it's high when it's supposed to be low and low when it's supposed to be high, and there are, things that you can do outside of just lifestyle changes. Like when you work with a nutritionist like me, we do 3 things. We do food, we do lifestyle, and we do supplements. So we kind of, train your body to either optimize, heal itself, whatever it sort of needs to do. And it's, it's completely different from the medicine world. And I didn't know anything about this until I was a cancer patient. And there is so much money in that. I'm glad that we have all the foundations and everything and people give money, but and I've benefited from that money given, but there's so much money in cancer, it will never, ever, ever go away. Never. We will always have that. I have a prescription, some pills in my bag here today it's 17 grand a month. So there's people that are making medicines and they're, so that's the reason why that's never going to go away. But
I understand that.
anyway, but I'm happy to sort of like help guide. One of the things with thyroid hormones, patients are getting smarter and they're going to their doctors and they're saying, I want a full panel. I want you to check this, and this, so I'm happy to do anything, as, to tell you what to ask for, do a Dutch test, on, any clients or anything that need help. So.
Thank you. It's just so important to me that everyone here understands that there is a reason for why you're feeling the way you are. And if you're just being told that this is normal, you just need to keep pushing and digging and maybe get a second opinion. And I love the functional medicine route because with modern medicine, with that, we tend to put a Band-Aid on things instead of fixing the actual cause of the problem. So why you feel the way you feel, instead of just putting taking a medicine to combat the side effects of the way you feel.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do love that so much. Okay, so I will wrap this up, but I want to make sure that everyone knows exactly where they can find you, what you offer as far as your services and how you can be of help. Tell us all your stuff.
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. That's probably the easiest place. And it's at Tessa _ Guevara, my last name. There is a click me link up top. And that links to my website. There's going to be a lot of different offerings after being at this retreat. So if there's something that you're specifically looking for, absolutely. There's a book a discovery call link. That you can, or you can either DM me on Instagram and we can pick a time that we can get together and chat. And, I can do anything from, again, I really think that, that there's an advising piece about, I've done both things. I'm like, go to your doctor and ask for these things. People are getting smarter. And, for all the way to doing a Dutch and doing all the things that you need to do to be kinder to your body and live differently and live how God intended us to do, because I truly believe that we were not made perfect. We weren't. Right? We were made with as much hormone as we needed to be happy. So it's just a matter of learning what you need to do. And like I said, it's not rocket science. It's just little things that you can tweak in your life to kind of benefit overall. But yeah,
Awesome. Well,
just
thank
know that.
you again so very much for being here. This is such a great conversation. I think that everyone here, including myself, has learned a lot today, and we can definitely be more aware as we continue our journey and just what we should be feeling and
Mhm.
what we shouldn't. So thank you. Go enjoy your women's retreat. Have so much fun. Everyone, make sure you write down where you can follow Tessa. I put it in the chat feature here.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to her or me, and I can connect you with Tessa. So, all right, everyone, thanks for being here. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys. Thank you.